All right, so today we're diving deep into a very specific fitness philosophy, one called the Erotic Athlete. And let me tell you, this is not about getting skinny. Not at all. This is a detailed blueprint for building a powerful, commanding physique with, well, what the program itself calls dangerous curves. So let's get into the strategy behind the art.
And this is where it all begins. This quote is the entire philosophy in a nutshell. It's not about just being fine or looking good enough to blend in. No, the goal here is to intentionally build a physique that actually shifts the energy in a room, one that has this undeniable presence. It sets a very, very specific target right from the start. So what exactly is an erotic athlete? Well, the program defines it as this fusion of two things you wouldn't normally put together: feminine softness and athletic violence. It's a body that looks like it could absolutely crush a 100-meter dash, but at the same time, it's sculpted with these powerful, abundant curves. The whole point is to build a metabolic powerhouse, not to shrink yourself down.
Okay, so Section 1, a new philosophy, mindset before the muscle. This is crucial because the entire program is built on a psychological shift. The argument is that if you don't get your head right first, none of the physical work is ever going to stick.
This slide really illustrates the core psychological problem this whole approach is trying to solve. See, most people quit because they get stuck in what's called quantum leap thinking. They expect these huge overnight results, and when that doesn't happen, they get discouraged and give up. This philosophy flips that on its head, and instead embraces something called the slight edge. It's the idea that true success comes from these small, almost boring daily actions. It's about trusting that all those little wins are compounding over time, even when the progress feels invisible. And it all really boils down to this. This is the central belief. The philosophy is crystal clear. There are no hacks, no shortcuts. The only magic pill that actually exists is the unglamorous, unsexy act of just showing up and doing the work, day in and day out. And to keep you from burning out, the program maps out a very specific timeline to manage your expectations. So that first month, that's the gestation period. You're building the foundation, waking up muscle fibers, but you might not see huge changes in the mirror. Then, weeks 5 through 8, the metabolic fire starts. You start to get that glow. And it's only in that final month that the curve is expected to really shoot upward. This is so important because it keeps you from quitting when reality doesn't match your expectations. It builds trust in the process.
Now, here's a really cool psychological trick the program uses to create intense focus. You adopt a 12-week year mindset. You treat this short period of time with the same seriousness as a full year. Every single week becomes a month, and every day feels like a week. It's a mind game, you know? It's designed to kill procrastination and force you to take consistent, meaningful action.
All right, Section 2, the game of inches, the art of illusion. The first big strategy here is built on a simple truth. Bodybuilding is basically an illusion. So if you want to make your glutes look dramatically bigger, what's the smartest first move? You make the waist smaller. It's all about contrast.
And the main enemy in this game of inches is something called visceral fat. Now, this isn't the soft, pinchable stuff on the outside. No, this is the hard, inflammatory fat deep inside your abdomen that literally pushes your stomach out from the inside. The entire strategy for getting a smaller waist is framed as a direct war against this specific kind of fat.
So how do you attack it? With a three-pronged strategy called the corset effect. First up is the metabolic flush, which uses explosive full-body movements that keep your body burning that deep fat for hours after your workout is done. Second is core control, which means training your deep core muscles, your body's natural corset, with exercises like vacuums. And third, anti-inflammatory nutrition, which is all about getting rid of bloat so your midsection lays flat.
Okay, Section 3, building with iron, engineering the raw material. So you've started the waist cinching strategy. Now it's time to actually build the raw material for the curves. And the philosophy here is dead simple. You can't sculpt a pebble. You have to build some muscle mass first, and that means you got to use heavy iron. And this directly tackles a huge fear for so many women, the bulky myth. This program argues that, biologically, women just don't have the testosterone to get bulky from lifting heavy the way men do. It's just not going to happen. Instead, heavy iron creates density, it creates shape, it creates what the program calls abundance. That curve of your glutes, that sweep of your quads, that is all muscle that has to be strategically built.
The program focuses on 3 key movements for the biggest bang for your buck. First, the thrust. Think hip thrusts, which targets the glute when it's fully squeezed to build that high, tight top shelf. Second is the stretch. Think Romanian deadlifts, to sculpt that under booty area.
And third is the driver, which is single leg work, like split squats, to hit the side of the glute and fix any muscle imbalances.
All right, section 4, the anti-gravity pop, the art of finishing. So if heavy lifting builds the house, this part is like decorating it. This is the finishing touch, focused entirely on creating the texture and the aesthetic that makes muscles look electric and really pop. It's about shape, not just size.
This analogy is just perfect. The program argues that some of the most aesthetic legs in the world belong to sprinters, not powerlifters. And why is that? Well, a powerlifter's body, while incredibly strong, can sometimes look a little heavy. But a sprinter's body, it looks electric, vibrant. And that difference comes down to the type of muscle fiber they're training.
So the science behind that pop comes from training your fast twitch muscle fibers. While slow, heavy lifting builds an amazing foundation, it's the explosive stuff, the jumps, the plyometrics, that wake up these bigger, denser, harder fibers. That's what creates that firm, round look instead of a soft one. And as a cool little bonus, this kind of training is said to tighten your body's fascia, which is basically like a biological push-up bra that pulls everything up. In this line, Mitch just perfectly sums up the philosophy behind all the conditioning work. The goal isn't just to burn calories or to shrink yourself. It's about building vitality, radiating energy, creating a biological glow. The sweat is just a side effect of building an engine that shines from the inside out.
So, we've got the mindset, we've got the 3 strategic pillars. Now let's see how it all comes together in the actual 12-week blueprint. Here's a look at a typical week. It's structured pretty intelligently. Monday is Lab A, all about heavy lifting to build that glute shelf. Tuesday, you sculpt the upper body to help create that hourglass illusion. Wednesday is all-out athletic conditioning to snatch the waist. Thursday is for active recovery, super important for managing stress. And then Friday is Lab B, hitting that lower body again to build out the under booty.
The nutrition strategy has to solve a paradox, right? How do you eat enough to build muscle, which requires a calorie surplus, while also keeping your waist small, which requires a deficit? The answer here is carb cycling. You have high-carb growth days on your heavy lifting days to fuel your workouts and recovery. Then you have low-carb snatch days on the other days to maximize fat burning. And it's all built on a foundation of whole, single-ingredient foods to avoid what the program calls the pleasure trap of processed junk.
As we wrap this up, this quote really captures the final message. This whole curriculum is basically positioned as an antidote to that constant pressure for women to shrink, to disappear, to be smaller. It's framed as a philosophy for women who want to confidently and unapologetically take up space.
Because ultimately the end goal isn't just physical. The program claims the real result is an identity shift. It's about a new level of confidence that literally changes how you walk, how you act, and how you move through the world. It's a curriculum for confidence, just engineered through physical effort.
And that leaves us with the final question this philosophy poses to you. It's not just about what you'll look like in 12 weeks, it's about who you will become through this intense process of building both your body and your mindset.